Well, a special performance for the Queen by the band at the Coldstream Guards at Windsor Castle today as the monarch marks her 96th birthday. And joining us live with more on the Queen's birthday and, of course, a recent reunion she had with her grandson, Prince Harry, is CTV's royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen. Always great to chat with you, Richard, when it comes to the royal family. So the Queen, 96 today, spending a sort of quiet time. She wasn't there for that ceremony or the performance. She instead is in Sandringham, sort of resting and relaxing, it seems.
Yeah, the Queen's never been one much for big birthday celebrations. She has a really big one in June, which is the Trooping the Colour. We actually mark it on Victoria Day, in which Canadians have a very much-loved long weekend in honor of the Queen's birthday in Canada. But she's always marked this very, very privately with family. She's gone out to Sandringham, mostly probably to give her poor staff at Windsor Castle a break because she's been there almost continuously for many, many months. And she's at a place called Wood Farm, which is where Prince Philip spent a good portion of his time after retiring from royal duties about 4 or 5 years ago. I think she feels particularly close to him there, and it's, you know, a place with very few staff, and she also has a lot of her own horses stabled nearby. Now, the palace did release the photo we're seeing on the screen right now of the Queen with 2 of her very favorite fell ponies, which she rode up until last year. So that's a very important part of her life. She's a country woman at heart, and she's really happy to be out of the spotlight on her birthday.
Right, I wonder, Richard, it is always interesting because the royals at sort of certain points in the year, you know, birthdays, anniversaries, and things along those lines, they release pictures. She releases a picture of her standing between sort of 2 of her favorite ponies. Nobody in her family was there. Is there anything to interpret or any significance to that?
Well, the Queen's biggest enjoyment and love in life comes from her horses and her dogs and being in the country. Of course, she is a family person. She has 8 grandchildren and, 13 great-grandchildren now. And she sees a fair amount of them, not as much as you might think. And I'm sure during the pandemic, like most people, family time has not been at a premium. So the palace likes to kind of change the conversation every now and then. And so I thought it was very strategic on their part to release a photograph with the 2 horses. Now, of course, William and Catherine have a home very near Wood Farm out at Sandringham. It's possible they may be dropping in for some birthday cake later on today out there, and other family may be in the region as well.
And of course, leading up to the Queen's birthday, of course, Prince Harry, her grandson, one of her 8 grandchildren, as you pointed out there, met with her, had a bit of a reunion, and then he gave an interview to NBC News. What did you take from what we heard from Prince Harry and the fact that he met with her sort of one-on-one, as it were?
Well, I think it was natural that Harry would stop in England on the way over to the Netherlands with Meghan. They haven't seen the Queen in over a year. Meghan has not seen her in 2 years. So I think that's natural. I think the Queen obviously received him as her grandson. It wasn't an official engagement. We're not going to see photographs of it. Harry did talk a little bit about it. I think people are very surprised the way he spoke about it, sort of portraying himself as the biggest confidant of the Queen and caring for her safety and security and questioning some of the people around her. And I think there's a lot of people who are wondering how he's in a position to do that when he's not in England. He said in the interview he sort of feels more at home in the United States now. So there's been a big, big reaction, particularly in the United Kingdom, and people who follow the institution closely. And I think there's a lot of people who feel that American journalists don't ask pretty good follow-up questions because we don't know exactly who he was referring to as being people around the Queen that he didn't agree with, or how he was going to provide for her safety and security. And I think it was maybe just a way of reminding people that he is a member of the royal family and playing on that cachet, because he has to do that now to satisfy all these contracts that he signed with various broadcasters to produce content.
A good point indeed, Richard. We've only got about 30 seconds left. You mentioned, of course, we'll celebrate the Queen's birthday on Victoria Day, but coming up in June, that's when the big ceremonies are happening in England. Can you give us a bit of a sneak preview of what we may be seeing at that point?
Yeah, we're going to see things start to ramp up in May. There's the Royal Horse Show at Windsor, which the Queen participates in. We'll see about that. There's 4 big days between June 2nd and the 5th in the United Kingdom, starting with the Trooping the Colour, which is going to be on a Thursday this year, where all the royal family traditionally appear on the balcony after the ceremony. The Queen also there will be a service of Thanksgiving at St. Paul's, a lot of pomp and circumstance around that. We expect all the family at that. And the Queen will be at the Epsom Derby on the weekend, hopefully. And she's got a horse in the race. She's never won that. Maybe she'll win this year. There's a lot of arrangements by the racing community to honoring the Queen. And it will end with a big street party lunch across the United Kingdom. And there'll be lots to see for everyone. We're hoping the Queen will be able to participate in some of it. I'm thinking the Trooping the Colour, the Epsom Derby, maybe the church service. But her own presence will be very limited given her mobility issues. But it's a good sign that she's gone out to Sandringham and she's out on the estate. And I'm sure that that shows that she's feeling a little bit stronger after her bout with COVID as well.
Yeah, indeed. You can, of course, remember that she just recovered from that. Okay, CTV's Royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen. Always appreciate the time. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks, Nick.